Kings of War Battle Report, classic battle of Goblins versus Dwarves. This is my Clash of Kings final round top table match. Stay tuned.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel, Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos. Do consider speeding up this video with the YouTube settings to consume this content or other YouTube content in a fraction of the time.
Alright, yes, Goblins versus Dwarves. This battle report is long overdue because this tournament happened in February of 2025. We are playing with just the universal command orders, which is the ones that are on this list. The faction command orders are not being played. So this is my list. You can just pause if you like to go through it in detail, but it is a shooting heavy list. And for the hordes, most of my hordes are sharp sticks, with one being rebel and one regiment of rebel. Then we have the triple sharp stick throwers, triple wingets, two wizards, one with alchemist curse, of course. For trombones, it's only two. That's one of the things that is not a triple off. Now let's move on. For my opponent's list, it's a dwarf list, and I had practiced against this list, but let me go through this list first. Alright, so it features the formation, which is very killy, right? And on top of that, this dwarf has a lot of healing capability. Shroud of the Saint on the standard barrier for heal 3. There's two dwarf stone priests with Radiance of Life that affects, I think, everything except Gorlock. And then, yeah, except Gorlock's Fury, right? Then there is Gorlock's Fury with an Iron Resolve Aura, which recovers 1 wound. So there's 2 automatic wound recoveries already in Iron Resolve and Radiance of Life. And then there's Heal 3, and on top of that, there is the Universal Command Order to recover wounds, right? So which is this one, Curance, which is one of the best command orders in my opinion. So let's look at the rest of the list. So it features 2 hordes, right? One being the Ironclad in formation, and then another Bullwalker's horde, so which is very difficult to take down. Okay, 2 Brock Rider regiments for some speed element so that the list doesn't get bullied by faster lists, with the Brock Riders hanging out on the flanks. Okay, 1 Mastiff hunting pack, and everything that can take Mastiffs took Mastiffs, right? And throwing Mastiffs, that is. 2 organ guns. Now they have unit strength 1, so they are actually scoring pieces now. Yeah, what else is there? Gorlock, 2 stone priests. So one has Bane Chan, the other one has Bane Chan and Veil of Shadows. So it's a bad matchup for me because it's high defense list, defense 5 and 6. And then he has healing capability, and he has Veil of Shadows to mitigate my shooting power as well. So all in all, it's quite a bad matchup for me. Faber with that defense 6, Gorlock with that defense 6, right? Yep, the formation. Okay, so out of 14 units, because there's 1 standard barrel and 2 stone priests, there's 11 of them scoring, but 2 of them are war engines. So why do I have to point it out? Because war engines rarely move throughout the game, right? So there are certain scenarios that they are not very valuable scoring pieces since they are not very mobile. Okay, and I had practiced against this list because one of my local players, before going for this tournament, this regional tournament, right? He asked me if I wanted to practice against any list, he would field it. Alright, and in his message to me, he did say, do you want to practice against any overseas players list? But I did not see the word overseas. So I asked to practice against this dwarf list because I knew it would be my hardest matchup for me. And this is a fellow local Singapore player. So I had practiced against this list. And fun fact, I did lose in that practice game against this list that was piloted by the other player. So let's move on to the actual battle itself. But before that, just a shout out to my local game store. Do buy for them if you're in the region.
In my opinion, the best game store in Singapore. They are beginner friendly with demo games, paint workshops, and overall a very casual gaming environment. They have the widest range of games and hobby supplies, including very obscure hobby brands and tools. They have separate levels for retail and gaming, so you can shop in peace or take part in the rowdy, fun atmosphere on the gaming level. Their website is always updated with new products added weekly. hammerhouse.com.sg. Check it out.
So Hammer House does ship regionally and globally as well, because sometimes they have stock of things that are already out of production, and they do ship to very far away countries sometimes. Okay, so do check it out. Now this is my Goblin army on a modular display board, and this is my opponent's Goblin army. Dwarf army, very well painted. Now this is the scenario stockpile. So there's actually only 3 piles here. These are the extra tokens that we put on the impassable. So let me just go through this with all the labels. So this, I forgot to label the terrain. So these are blocking terrain. Blocking terrain. Okay, forest. Forest. Hill here. Hill here. Okay, and flat terrain here, right? And another flat terrain somewhere. Here, yeah, flat terrain. Okay, a wall here. And a wall here. Okay. So stockpiles are on these 3 spots. So stockpile has to be on the middle line, right? And then because it needs to be 12 inches away from this center token and 3 inches away from the blocking terrain. So we measured that none of the tokens can be placed here. So both of them have to be placed outside of the blocking terrain. So I forgot who placed what. I guess my opponent placed this one and I placed this one. He has not contested this at all. So I'm going to get these 2 points of tokens definitely. Stockpile is the one where you pick up from a pile of tokens on the center line. Okay. So what my opponent did mention was that the forests on this table are exceptionally small, so which is a good thing for me since I'm a shooting army. Okay, so the interesting thing was I won the side and I decided to choose this side instead of that side, which has the hill pretty central. Okay, why did I choose to do that? Is because I want this forest closer to my side, because I don't want him to benefit from the forest as much as when we are approaching. So I thought the forest being, it's on the center line, but on my half, is more important than having that hill up there. Okay. So yeah, that's my thought when I chose this side. Okay, but I think I lost the initiative because my opponent went first. If I would have won the initiative, I would have went first for sure, because he has Veil of Shadows going first. He doesn't get the protection on turn 1. Okay, so another interesting thing about this deployment is I placed my 3 sharp stick throwers down here. Okay, because I want to be able to shoot into these 2 areas where I think we will be fighting at. Okay, but then there's this huge blocking terrain here, and the forest limits my line of sight as well. So I think on hindsight, it was a good decision because I get to shoot on both sides. I get to shoot on most of the things over here anyway. Okay, so top of turn 1, he advances forwards. I think nothing can shoot at the top of 1, because even the organ guns are 24 inches and he has to move 1 onto the hill, 1 into the forest. Okay, so if I label everything, this is Faber. I forgot to label this one. Okay, so bottom of 1, one significant thing I did was to move this King on Chariot 18, and with 18 and 1 pivot due to nimble, I was able to see and charge this organ gun next turn, but it will be hindered. Okay, so this horde can only move 5 inches because of the wall. The hordes over here could go at the double, of course, with the front one stopping shy of the forest because they don't have Pathfinder. Okay, I'm not sure how much damage I dealt. Doesn't seem like I dealt any damage at all. Might be a terrible turn of shooting. Yeah. Okay, so next up, let's talk about what happened to my opponent's side. Okay, so here I think the Mastiff threw, and his Horde of Ironclad moved up and pivoted onto the token to pick up one token. Okay, Brock Riders are over there. And of course, these are sharp sticks, so the Brock Riders wouldn't want to charge it alone. Then these two units moved up and picked one token each, right? Because two units are overlapping the token, so they pick up one token each. Yeah, the unfortunate thing is that because he gets to go, he got the first turn, right? So he was able to pick up the token while staying out of this forest, so this unit can't charge because it's not poking into the forest yet. Don't think it's a major deal. And he started to do his shooting, so there's 6 damage dealt here, pretty painful. So most likely, I think this Mastiff, this regiment probably has line of sight to throw one throwing Mastiff, and then maybe this one threw a throwing Mastiff. This looks like it could be within 12. Okay, and then with Faber and the organ gun shooting, took 6 wounds, pretty respectable. And I think the rest of the shooting on this side shot at the slasher. So with the organ gun, Warlock, probably 1 Mastiff, throwing, dealing 11 wounds. So that's really very painful on the slasher. So in this game, the slasher didn't do much, but I think it was a bullet magnet absorbing all the shots from the opponent, I guess. So let's see my response. Okay, so let's talk about the right side first. What I did was to back up my horde to be out of 8 inches of the ironclad and within 10. Okay, so I can charge him, he can't charge me. Alright. So another thing I would like to note is I was quite surprised that he placed his most killy unit, which is the ironclad horde, on the flank. I guess he was thinking, okay, I just throw one horde and one Brock with a Stone Priest for inspiring and Radiance of Life, it should be able to handle that flank. But because he threw things so heavily, I was prepared to lose the battle here because I'm gonna win this side, right? So then so he takes 2 tokens here, I take 2 tokens here because it's totally uncontested. Okay, I just have to win on the center, right? So this is the battle for the center. Okay, so let's look at what I did here. So I moved my hordes into the forest in a way that when he charges me, because he has to align to me, right, it will be most of their footprint out of the forest was my goal. So that when I shoot at him, he will not get cover from the forest. Especially from my Wingits, they ignore Obscure, but they will suffer penalty if I were to be shooting at them with 50% of their base in the forest. So that's why I placed my 2 hordes as such. Okay. And I did quite a bit of shooting. Definitely 3 Wingits. Probably some of these chopsticks. And it could be a front. So this could be hitting on 6s because of Veil of Shadow probably went off. I think it went off every time he casted. Okay. Yeah. This one, I think no lightning bolt from here. I guess I tried to shoot at something taller. And then I think trombones do get some shots. No, this is a forest, so no shots at all because it's outside the forest. Okay, and then what else? This King on Chariot charge with triple attacks but hindered. So it's hitting on 5s, wounding on 4s. So that some wounds, not enough to kill it. Okay, so this bot will eventually grab the 2 tokens unmolested, right? So top of 3, let's see. Let's start from the right side first. So he picked up already 2 tokens from the second token, yeah. So second turn he picked up 1, the third turn he pick up the other one. But one thing strange was that his positioning. So firstly, if you notice, this is the line horizontally across the blocking terrain. So he can't turn to face 90 degrees and walk 4 inches or 4 inches next turn without hitting the terrain. Okay, and on top of that, he placed his blocks base to base with this horde. So which is strange to me, because if I were to charge it, because it's base to base, the blocks are rectangles, right? They are wider than they are deep, so they can't make a 90-degree turn to double charge. You'll be stuck there. So I will capitalize on this later. Okay, so remember I dealt 12 wounds here in the previous turn. He reduced it to 8. So I probably dealt 13, right? And then Iron Resolve down to 12. And then with Radiance down to 11. And then the Endurance command down to 10. And then his heal tree probably had 2 successes. So which is why he had 8. So that's quite significant, 4 wounds being healed, right? So he charged his stuff into me, but not before dropping his token. So I guess he dropped this unit. The Horde dropped his token, this regiment dropped his token. They both charged forward, and then the units behind each picked up 1 token. So the Rock here, and then the Wool Walkers here, and then this regiment probably picked up the 3rd token when it charged in. Okay, so which was an I guess because this was down to 8 wounds, right? So I guess it felt dangerous to pick up the token with the Horde, particularly because all my shooting stuff are here anyway. Okay. One thing also I did with this formation was I did this angled formation so that he can't double charge anything, which includes Grony here. So because I want to see out, so Grony is an individual, so usually I have to pivot to contact the opponent, or pick up and place against the opponent. But I think because of this placement, there's no legal position where he would contact me and I'm able to pick up and place and fit into the opponent at any spot. Okay, so that is what we agreed upon when I place it in this position. I think it's true. So let's come back to here. So he picks up some tokens and he finished off the slasher. As you can see, the slasher was heavily wounded. Okay, these bull walkers turn to face this side because of my Chariot King. Although I have nimble, but because I'm aligned against the blocking terrain, I can't really nimble out of that position anyway. Okay, but I guess he's just preparing, which is fine. This part with Faber charging as well. Okay, I took 10 wounds and it's very difficult for me to move Faber because it's defense 6. Okay, on top of it, everything here is fresh. Okay, so let's see what I did on my turn 3. So firstly, let's talk about right side. So I took the opportunity to charge because I know that the Brocs can't come into me. So the Brocs will be stuck 1 turn, being stuck back there basically, right? Then on top of that, this Horde, when it counter charges me, I have to slide down here. So which makes it further entrenched on this right flank with this terrain to clear, and then he's stuck in the terrain. Even if he kills me, he can't at the double out, right? So even if he kills me, he turns to face. He has to face, because of this terrain here, he has to face backward-ish, right? And then he has to walk 4 inches, probably will not be out of the terrain. And then he has to walk another 4 inches this way, and then before he can move 8 inches to participate in this side of the battle. And on top of that, I got 1 regiment on standby to charge again when he's done killing the Horde. So I decided to take this because I know that I will take his most killy unit out of the rest of the game. It being turn 3. He only has 3 turns. He probably stuck here because I still have to charge it, and then he's probably stuck here for the rest of the game. Okay, so that's what I did. Over here, my Grony with nothing good to charge at, I decided to, let me see, I think I wavered this because this organ gun was on the hill, so I could see it. I think I wavered it as well, right? So it backed off the hill. Okay, so it's considered height 2. My Grony can't see it to charge at it, so I decided to just fly at the double. And unfortunately, it also exploded. The winged suit on a 1 deals like a Cloak of Death effect to everyone, including my allies and including himself. Right, so took some wounds here. If I flew at the double so that I can look at this organ gun and I can look at the rear of his armies, I'm also threatening his support pieces, the standard bearer and the stone priest. Okay, that will come into play later. So I did spike though on the roll against the Brock Riders because they're height 3, so lightning bolt hitting on 5s. The spells here all hitting on 5s, right? Because they don't care about Veil of Shadows. Okay, but the Wingits, they suffer Veil of Shadows, but no cover penalty, so they're also hitting on 5s. The staff over here, probably the 3 sharpstick throwers, probably hitting on 5s or 6, probably 6. Yeah, probably 6, right? So trombone here also hitting on 6. So lucky enough to kill it. Okay, lucky enough to kill it. Let me see. I'm not sure if eyeballing this one. There's 2 wizards here. One of it has Alchemist Curse. Eyeballing it, I can't be sure if the Brocks were within 12. They could be because this is about 2 inches. This is about 3.5. About 3.5. This is less than 2. So let's see. 2, 7, 11. Could be just within 12. Yeah, could be just within 12 for me to kill it. Or rather cast Alchemist Curse on it. Okay, Alchemist Curse would hurt much more because it's rolling more dice and it's wounding on 2s. Okay, and yeah, punching back at the opponent. Saw how much I dealt. Okay, this looks severely wounded, right? So, but the Bullwalker's still staying around, so that kind of sucks, right? Yeah, of course this when he charged me with the Bullwalkers horde, they're hitting on 4s, so they became hitting on 5s, so not a lot of damage dealt for sure. Okay, so they'll be hitting on 5, so that will be 10 hits, wounding on. Let me check the list. What does it have? Yeah, hitting on 5s and wounding on 4s. 3s if he casted Bane Chant, but he wouldn't have casted Bane Chant because the Stone Priest is too busy casting Veil of Shadows. I'm not sure if this is within 12 for Bane Chant. Could be, but he could have failed it too. So anyway, I countercharge, not expecting to kill anything. Over here, the King on Chariot did kill off the organ gun. So let's see my opponent's response. So firstly, the Horde here got killed after a second round of combat. Over here, the Bullwalkers punched back and it took some. My unit continued to take some wounds. 14, not dead yet. Okay, something here died. 1 Winged died. Okay, and from shooting, right? Probably Golok. I'm not sure if this Mastiff threw its throwing Mastiff. This unit, I'm not sure if it shot. Okay, but Golok died. 1 Winged died. Okay, so on Hot here died, and because my Grony was threatening his support pieces, right? And then they only move 4, right? So moving 4 can't get in away from me at all. So he decided to move at the double 8, and he decided to hide on this flank of the Bullwalkers, and it's a base to base, so I can't charge it, right? But because he had to move on the double, he did not cast Veil of Shadows this turn, right? Which is important detail. Okay, so that being said, over here on this side, yeah, it killed off the Ironclad Horde. They are hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s with Bane Chan, right? So it has a good chance to one round me, and it did one round me. Okay, this was before the unit was taken off. Okay, so on my turn, I charge it again with the regiment, and you know, his Brocs were indeed stuck for one turn, right? I think probably it backed off. He could have backed off 4 inches, but this seems like less than 4. Okay, so I charge it again, and then now it's gonna be stuck again, I think. Hopefully I can jam the Brocs as much as possible. The Ironclad is definitely written off for the rest of the game, but hope I can delay the Brocs from coming into the game as much as I can. Okay, now remember, the Veil of Shadows wasn't cast this turn, so I popped that unit behind. Okay, and it was holding 2 tokens. How did it hold 2 tokens? I forgot. Right, because I killed the Brock regiment that was holding 1 token, right? So the Bullwalker regiment behind picked up the second token. So now his 2 tokens dropped onto the floor, and with 1 token left here only. Okay, now notice the Bullwalkers, they're on 11 wounds. You know, every turn, as long as I don't kill it, he Iron Resolves 1, he Radiance of Life 1, he can Endurance, and he can cast Heal. So he's picking up the wounds, and you know, because I channeled my firepower towards this side, right, I am lacking firepower against the Bullwalker Horde. Okay, but over here, my King on Chariot flank charged this regiment alongside with the Horde. Yeah, it's hindered and everything, but dealt it some wounds. This looks like it's 6 wounds over here. Okay. Yeah, right. Let's see anything else to take note of. Oh, my Grony ended up with nothing good to charge at again. So I think I just came here and just contributed my bow shots into the unit over there. Okay, so next, 4 bottom, 5 top. Okay, so the Bullwalker regiment countercharged the King on Chariot, not killing it, and then the Faber charged at the Horde, hoping to jam it, but because it couldn't centralize against me, and I think I could easily still charge this unit of Bullwalkers because I can pivot on the spot. So this part will go away from Faber, and the other side will come forward, and I will contact. Then from then on, I just pick up and play. So I just have to get all these things out of the way. Okay. So yeah, it's coming to the end of the game. So I have a lot of things to consider. So first, another thing was he put his 2 characters on the tokens. So the individuals can't pick up the tokens, but I also cannot pick up the tokens if the characters are not killed. And Dwarf characters are very hardy because they're all defense 5. And being individuals, my shots would be not great against it. So bottom of 5, with potentially only 2 turns left, I had a lot to consider because as of now, I'm still losing. Actually, I'm not losing. I think he decided to drop his token because if he doesn't die, he could pick it up next turn, right? So I think that was his thought. Okay, but I need to pick up those tokens, right? So those were the considerations. Okay, so he killed off the regiment. The Brocs did manage to move out. So at the bottom of 5, yeah, I had 20 minutes for my last 2 turns, which is quite a lot. But I had a lot of things to consider, and you know, some of the things are happening on his half of the board. So I ended up walking back and forth between sides of the tables, considering what I needed to do, and I didn't know that I spent so much time. I spent 19 minutes on this bottom of 5 turn because there was a lot of things that I needed to do. I didn't make sure I kill this. I need to decide how am I going to get this token. I need to decide what am I going to do against Golok, which is primed in positions to pick up the tokens. And on top of that, the Brocs, right, they could charge 16. So I think it's somewhere around here. So which is also something I need to consider what I'm gonna do against it. Okay, thankfully it was not in position. I think because he need to come out of the terrain. Now it's facing here. It doesn't have ordered much. So if it goes straight, it's not picking up the token. So I ended up doing this and spending 19 minutes, which I shouldn't have. I'm left with 1 minute for turn 6 and probably no time for turn 7. Okay, what I opted to do, so hope that the counter charge killed off the Bullwalkers, which it did, and then I repositioned my unit to be able to pick up the tokens. So now I have 3 tokens and he has 2. There's 2 left on the floor, which his Golok was primed to pick up. Okay, and I'm not sure why I placed my Grony here. I think my suspect is if he were to charge at this unit, it would center, or even if he tried to place units to not to affect where his Grony, where his Golok would land. He because of the Grony, he couldn't slide to pick up the token. I think that was my intention of placing Grony here. Okay, he could charge Grony and pick up the 2 tokens. Then he would need an overrun of 2 or 3, I think 3, to overrun into me. Okay, because 120 base is just slightly shy of 1. Then I think this is slightly more than 2. So I think he needs an overrun of 3 to contact my horde. Okay, Faber is facing this way, so it can't charge, right? So, and of course, I must place my things out of 16 away from the Brox because I don't want the Brox to come into the center for a potential turn 7. So there were so many things that I had to consider. Okay, and lastly, I just placed this trombone to block this Bullwalker horde. Okay, then the remaining shooting, everything shot into the Golok, and he was on 12 wounds, not dead, but 12 wounds. Okay, I think in the end I could have just went with this plan without taking so long to think about it because I was trying to think if there's something better I could do. But every time I try to think of something better, I would like, oh no, I can't place anything here too close because then the Brox would charge in. And then with a good overrun, it could overrun into this. I was thinking of whether I could block Golok with a Wingate. But I realized with a good overrun, it could overrun onto the tokens still. Okay, I would have more to talk about on that later. Okay, so I did not take the top of 6 picture, but what he did was definitely he charged Golok into Grony and overran into my horde. At the same time, he picked up the 2 tokens on Golok. Okay, but another thing he did, which kind of saved me, was that he charged one of these characters into my my horde as well. Okay, I think the idea was so that I can't get a flank charge. Golok would have slid to the center, so I'm not sure why he charged the Black Barrier or Stone Priest into my unit because that is quite significant. I'll tell you why later. The Faber turned around and faced the rear of this horde to threaten the horde because he's the one holding the 1 token, right? So he didn't kill the horde. So what happened next was this bottom of 6. I countercharged the standard barrier. Because I countercharged the standard barrier, I disengaged from Golok, which was important, so that I could shoot at it. Okay, if I if I did not disengage because of how Faber was placed here, I couldn't get out of engagement with Golok. That was the problem because I can't back away. Okay, but because he did, I countercharged the standard barrier and I shot at Golok and he died. And luckily there was no turn 7, so I won 3-2 because I was holding 2 here, he's holding 2 here, I'm holding this 1 token here. And the clock hit 0. So after the game, some spectators did say that the clock did hit 0 before I wrote the nerf dice to kill off Golok. So I did talk this with my opponent, and he said he's fine with it. He's fine with me winning, although my clock did run out for a little bit, because he said that he don't want to win on such a close clock time. Of course, if it's turn 7, then he would have, if there's turn 7, he would have taken a free reign of that turn 7, and I have no way to respond. Right, but he's okay with it, and yep, that made me feel better, because I did feel bad at the start that I won after the clock hit 0. So yep, still thanks to my opponent's graciousness that allowed me to win, and this was such a hard-fought battle because it's so difficult. It's a very bad matchup for me, and I did make the best out of it. I think I did play my ass off in this game. He did make mistakes, especially on this right flank. Center-wise, I'm not too sure whether he made mistakes, but there were one good set of rolls against the Brock Riders in the middle with Veil of Shadows on, and the other turn where he ran his character and did not cast Veil of Shadows, that also caused his other Bullwalker regiment to die. In hindsight, would it be better if he just casted Veil of Shadows and just let Grony charge it? Probably, given that the regiment just died like that. Okay, so of course I do have Alchemist Curse. Alchemist Curse castles here, doing a lot of work the whole game. Bottom of 6 is not there, so I think it got shot off or something. Okay, so yeah, but I think Alchemist Curse was doing work the whole game. So a little post-battle analysis. I felt what I could have done was to place one of these wingits. I think one of the wingits got wavered because this one backed out, right? So I think one of them got wavered, but I have 2 wingits, so one of them could have came here. I should have placed it at an angle such that if Grony charged it and overran, not Grony, Golok charged it and overran, it wouldn't have picked up the token. So that would have probably been a better play. But at the same time, you know, the Brocks did threaten 16, so I don't know where that 16 ends. So I need to, but that's more for turn 7, right? I just want to make sure that if there's a turn 7, as much as I can, I try to keep these Brocks out of the game. Was my intention. It did come here in the end. So there was turn 7. I think things would have been super difficult for me, because Faber would charge this, and it might be game over already. Faber charge this, he picks up the token. I'm not able to peel that token away from him. I could pick up the tokens, but then the Brock Riders are in play, the Bullwalkers are in play, so I'm not sure how that would end. Okay, I could try to jam, right? I could try to have, I have 2 wingits, right? So I could jam both with this, and then I can have the king pick up the token or something. Okay, and hope I don't get shot off. Yep, so let's look at learning points. So the side that I've planned to lose, which is my right side, right? I try to use as little points as possible to tie down as many points as possible. I had 1 regiment and 1 horde, right? 1 regiment of rebel, 1 horde of sharp sticks. It comes up to 215. Okay, and I was facing off against 465 points of Ironclad and Brocks, and a 95 point Bane Chant Stone Priest. And of course, I think the Bane Chant Stone Priest did come towards the center to cast Bane Chant in the end, so it was not totally wasted on the side. But I still held off more than double my points even on this alone. Right, close to triple if I added this. Okay, so I found the right opportunity to charge his right side to jam him out for the rest of the game. Okay, so he left the left side fully abandoned, so I contested the 2 point, I got that 2 scenario tokens for 140 points with 1 horde. Actually 125 points, I think it's the rebel horde. So it's really very worth it for me. Okay, so yeah, patience, find the right opportunity to strike, even if it's just to threaten. So my Grony, just without a good target to charge, I just flew and threatened his rear, and then he ran his characters. not casting Veil of Shadows, and that was my opening, right? Okay, so this was that last battle there when he charged KOK into my unit, and then because he got me sandwiched between KOK and Faber, he could have just kept me engaged, and I couldn't shoot at the KOK. But because he allowed me to disengage, my shooting is much stronger than the chopsticks attacking. So it was more important that I can get to shoot at him. Okay. That being said, he was pretty wounded, so counter charge would have been 10 hits and 3 wounds, so maybe not enough. See how many wounds was KOK on. I wouldn't be able to tell. Okay. Because it's only at 13 by the end of it. No, I remember it was double ones to kill, so with the heal and the command order to remove 1 wound, I'm not sure if I was able to kill it with just rebel fighting. Okay. So for last learning point, the shooting army, like myself, I want to try to make sure the opponent is mostly in the clear. So I think at the end of the game, the forest still benefited me in a sense. Taking the side with the forest closer to me brought most of the battle of his units outside the forest. It's just slightly clipping the forest, right? If he was fighting here, maybe that regiment would get cover the whole game, right? And then that will be difficult for me as well. Yeah. But that being said, if I took that side, maybe I would have picked up the token and you have to peel it away from me. So that's another thing to consider, right? So yeah, nonetheless, great game. There's some shots of the final battle. It being the last game to finish. Look at the amount of people watching our game. Silently, I might add. So we enforced, the TO enforced very, very strict rules. If you are watching the game, you are not allowed to talk at all. Not even whisper to other people at the table, around the table. So if you want to whisper about some things that you saw, you have to move away from the table. So no whispering, mutterings of any kind, no talking, no pointing out, because anything you say might affect the opponent, right? So, oh, hit on 5, then maybe the opponent say, oh yeah, hit on 5, maybe I don't want to charge anymore. So these are the things that might affect. Even if you think it doesn't, it does, right? So that's my opponent. I didn't take a picture of him before, after the game. KJ. He used to do commission painting as well, so his painting is really good. Okay, and yeah, me taking first. But I do have a lot of Kings of War armies already, so I won this Forces of Nature. I think it's an old Forces of Nature box. And I decided to donate it back to the prize pool, so it went for lucky draw. And what a great ending to it, because the Wooden Spoon player won the lucky draw, so he got back with the biggest prize of the tournament as well. Shout out to third place winner, Yijian, who played a flying Alpha Strike army with spear phalanx regiments to anchor. So a pretty good list. His list was sort of a boogeyman list of the tournament. I didn't play against him, but I thought that it would be an interesting matchup because I do have lots of phalanx, which will be great against all his shooting, all his flying units. So we did not play against each other. And lastly, the best painted award, and it's voted by all the players present, goes to him. He's my third round opponent, playing Dwarves as well, Lord of the Ring Dwarves. And yeah, he is Asia's best painter as voted by the people, second of his name, because this is our second Clash of Kings Asia tournament. Champion of people's brushes, strongest of painters, protector of painting standards, and god of color. This is Team Singapore, all the Singapore players turning up for the tournament. And these are all the players in total. and some of the TOs and support. And ending off with dinner, there was champion fries on the menu, and I ordered it. It came served in a trophy. So that's me having the fries from the trophy cup. Thank you everybody for watching my battle reports. I know that I've not been as active lately. I finally managed to get through all the battle reports for my Clash of Kings Asia tournament. Next week, I'm heading off to Clash of Kings UK. So if you're watching this video and you are going to UK, do give me a shout out in the comments or on Facebook. Shout out to my patron, Anonymous. So if you enjoyed my battle reports, do watch another video. Engage in the YouTube algorithm. I do have a podcast, though my last episode has been quite a while ago. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon, that's the link. Okay, if you'd like to find me on podcast, you can just search Newbie Dice Podcast on all your podcast apps. And that's the end of this battle report. I think my next set of battle reports will be probably from Clash of Kings UK. And I'll see you in the next one.